Hey everyone, welcome to the Five-Beard Land. I'm Brian, and this is the ongoing saga of an everyman's ale trail. In this episode, Summer Beer School is still in session, and the homebrew project wraps up with a final review. I'll also share my experience with a great tool that I am using in my homebrew sessions. But before we get this party started, here is this episode's burning question. If you are a home brewer or a commercial brewer, what is your favorite gadget that you use for brewing? You'll hear about mine in the Tales from the Trail segment coming up next. It has been a few months since we've walked down the ale trail together. So this episode, I want to share a product with you that I find indispensable for my brew sessions. I have a number of brewing groups, brewing supplies, and beer-related organizations that I subscribe to because I'd like to be informed and educated. Back in April, an email showed up in my inbox with a subject matter related to something called a mini tilt hydrometer. I was intrigued. As you have heard on the podcast, the hydrometer is an important tool for the brewer. I purchased a basic one on Amazon for less than $20 after the first homebrew kit since I decided to move to all grain immediately. Without this tool, it would be almost impossible to determine whether the beer has the nutrients necessary for fermentation to occur. And if the measurement is not taken care of, pre-boil, post-boil, which is the original gravity, and post-fermentation, which is the final gravity, the brewer will really never know what the ABV is of the final product. As I reflected back over the past year of brewing, it was time for a little self-reflection. I realized I did not grasp the importance of the gravity readings for the first few recipes. The second brew, a Snowbird's Dream, which was a passion fruit sour ale, was light-bodied and almost exactly what I had in mind. The following beers always seemed to come up a little bit short for what I was expecting, and I did not understand why. As I have since learned, my documentation of the gravity was not something I had been very diligent with from batch to batch, and thus I was not hitting my numbers. You'll hear more about that a little bit later in my review. So back to the original topic. As I opened the email and viewed the product description, I knew this was something that the everyman had to have for his brewing. I quickly researched the product and found that there were a few different ones on the market. It seemed clear to me after spending some time on this that there was one particular product on the market that seemed to have the best features. Enter the wrapped pill. Kegland, out of Melbourne, Australia, is the manufacturer of this tilt hydrometer. They sell a line of brewing products under their so-called wrapped ecosystem. Their Brewzilla system is fairly well known in the homebrew community and is a high-tech masterpiece. If you are interested in learning more about this product, go to kegland.com.au. Well, this item really looks like an oversized medicine capsule. It is about 5 inches long and 1.5 inches in diameter. It comes in two halves. One half is colored yellow and the other half clear. There is a long rectangular circuit board inside with a rechargeable battery and corresponding USB-C charging port. There are 3 other colored halves that you can purchase that allow you to have multiple devices in your brew house to better keep track if you have multiple fermenters. The colored half screws onto the clear half and is hermetically sealed via 2 O-rings in parallel. This is of course important so that the board does not short out. One of the options is a wireless charging kit. The benefit of this is that you do not need to open the pill and recharge the pill. If you don't use it often, it can last up to 1.5 years between charges. The description of the wrapped pill on the Kegland website says this: the wrapped pill allows accurate and precise, true, real-time specific gravity and temperature logging and control via Wi-Fi/Bluetooth integration with the wrapped fermentation chamber or wrapped temperature controller, wrapped mobile app, or wrapped IoT. The wrapped pill acts as both a real-time gravity testing hydrometer and thermometer allowing instant gravity and temperature measurements and also logging from inside your fermenter during fermentation. The wrapped pill boasts many advantages over other wireless hydrometers and thermometers, including tough design, better ergonomics, sanitary design, and less susceptible to air as a result of hops, krausen, or carbon dioxide bubbles generated from fermentation. It was clear that I was on the right track with my research. There is a nice video on YouTube where Kay from Kegland reviews the wrapped pill. This was the tipping point. No pun intended. In addition to the video, as soon as I saw pictures of this item and read the description, I knew I needed to have it for my brew sessions. The price point for the base product is not terrible at $80. The wireless add-on kit is another $40. Well, once I received the wrap pill, I unboxed it and read through the instructions. After the recommended 24-hour charging time, it needs initial calibration using simple tap water. After I was confident the pill was sealed up, I placed it in a container with water and using the online interface, clicked a button and waited for confirmation. The pill works based on the angle of tilt to determine what the specific gravity is at any given time. The Bluetooth connectivity means it can be monitored in real time. I'm a techie through and through, so having the ability to check the progress of my beer during fermentation is very convenient and will help me know when the yeast has finished its work. If I'm being honest, the Wrapped app is not the most user-friendly, but new things always take time to learn. Well, once you get ready to start your brew day, you go to the dashboard in the app and start a brew session with your device. You can do this from the very start or wait until just before fermentation. Just don't forget it. Once you pitch your yeast, drop in the pill and close up the fermenter. It is as easy as that. After a little time, open the app up once again and you get a diagram showing battery percentage, specific gravity, temperature, and alcohol by volume in graphical form. When the specific gravity and ABV curves level off, this indicates that fermentation is complete. At this point, the beer is ready for dry hopping, secondary fermentation, or depending on the beer style, even packaging. It really takes the guesswork out of when to move on to the next phase of your brew day. I highly recommend this product for anyone who wants to grow in their brewing skills. I want to give a big thanks and shout out to Kegland for providing the wrap pill and charging kit to the 5-beer plan for use in my homebrew sessions. I'll be posting some pictures on Instagram so you can see exactly what happened during that first brew day. Alright, my beer-centric students, it's time for the 6th session of Yeast Feast. Welcome to Yeast 101. In order for us to move forward with this new segment, it is necessary for me to continue to lay the groundwork. Please keep in mind that I am learning right alongside you. As I've mentioned before, there are 4 basic ingredients for making beer: malt, hops, water, and yeast. Without these ingredients, we would not be able to fully enjoy beer as we know it. So let's try to make our way through these segments as efficiently as possible. So next up is something called attenuation. It will get a little bit mathy as I continue here, so I apologize in advance for those who may struggle with arithmophobia. If you've not figured it out yet, brewing needs math. From my experience, it seems to be 80% cleaning, 19% chemistry, and 1% magic. It is kind of like alchemy. I mean, how else could a bunch of microscopic, single-celled fungi make beer out of everyday ingredients? In order to understand how well your yeast is working, someone came up with the idea of measuring attenuation. According to Webster, this is the property of something that has been weakened or reduced in thickness or density. In beer terms, this is the efficiency of the yeast converting sugar to alcohol during fermentation. The attenuation is usually expressed in terms of a percentage. Typically, most beer yeasts have an attenuation of 65 to 80%. What this means is that the yeast has reduced the specific gravity of the wort by 65 to 80%. Thus, the attenuation is based on the original gravity and the final gravity readings of the beer, which make measuring them really important in the brewing process. The equation used to calculate attenuation is the following. Attenuation equals 100% multiplied by the difference between the starting gravity and the current gravity divided by the starting gravity minus 1. The attenuation is also something that should be considered when deciding on a yeast strain for the beer style that you're brewing. More food for thought. I hope you'll keep tuning in because it's going to be an interesting journey. In this segment of Homebrew Hijinks, it's time to package up the North Avenue Double. After a week undergoing the dry hop step, it was finally time to bottle the beer. I mixed up a solution of PBW and sanitized a dozen bottles, putting them in a dish strainer to dry. I also took time to sanitize caps, hose, and a bottle filler. Since I'm doing this in my kitchen, I spread a couple of beach towels and a few dish towels just to make sure that if there were spills, I wouldn't make a mess. Well, it was the moment of truth. I took off a sample from the fermenter and measured the final gravity, even though it was a bit pointless since I neglected to measure the original gravity of the beer. The thing that was encouraging to me was the aroma and the taste of the beer. Even devoid of carbonation, this was a really nice looking and great tasting beer. I heated up my hose with hot water, connected the bottle filler, and then connected the hose to the spigot on the fermenter and went about the process of filling each bottle. I added 3 carb tabs to each bottle to get a medium carbonation on these to fit the style of the beer. I placed all the bottles in a box and took it to the basement for the 2-week bottle conditioning. It's important to put your bottles in a location that is dark and cool to make sure that you're not going to affect the final product. Cleanup was a tad easier with my dry hop basket, which kept the hop matter contained. There was a thick layer of trub, almost 1 inch at the bottom of the fermenter. I could tell that the yeast worked really hard. I emptied it outside and went about cleaning up the rest of my equipment for the next brew day. Next episode, I'll share my idea for the next project.
Last call.
It's nearly time to wrap things up, but first, one more for the road. This episode, I'm drinking North Avenue Double from FBP Homebrew Project. From the brewer. The first double to date with loads of grain in the bill. Whirlpooled with HBC 586 and dry hopped with Citra, this juicy double IPA has plenty of citrus hop character. Without further delay, so this beer is an 8% ABV double IPA. It poured a nice light golden color, has a nice white fluffy head on it, got some nice citrus aroma on the nose, leaning towards the juicy side. So first sip impression here. Okay, so it's definitely got a bitter forward flavor to it. I'm definitely getting a lot of that big citrus hop bite that I would expect, especially with all the different hops that were put into this and being dry hopped. I will say that, unfortunately, this beer did get a little oxygenated, so it has just a hint maybe of that cardboardy kind of aroma on the nose. But I like the flavor. It definitely hits all the right notes as far as the citrus, juiciness, and just the hop bitterness that I would expect from such a beer. And I will say that when looking at the beer, compared to some of the other ones that I've brewed, it's clean. It's not clear because it's a hazy, but there is no hop matter in it. There is no grain in it. It's a very clean looking hazy beer, which I'm really excited about. So I'm definitely getting to the point where I'm dialing that in a little bit more and more. Unfortunately, after reviewing the original gravity and the final gravity to get ABV, clear that I did not hit my targets up front on the original Gravity, which turned out to be more of a hazy IPA rather than a double IPA. So that's a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, I'm really happy with how this turned out flavor-wise, because I really feel like the profile really hits the right notes that I was really going for. The Citra, the HBC, and I'm encouraged. It's not perfect, but again, moving in the right direction. I give this one 3 tasters out of 5 on the Flightboard. Cheers, FBP Homebrew Project. Well, if you've got a beer you'd like me to drink and describe, leave a comment below. If you're a brewer and have one in mind, direct message me on Instagram, and let's see what we can do. That's all for this episode of the 5 Beer Plan. With so many podcasts out there, thanks for choosing to listen to mine. Join me next time as I continue to lay the groundwork for yeast, roll out the concept for the next homebrew project, interview Bo from Species X Beer Project, and review another beer. Remember to hit the subscribe button on your preferred podcast platform to be notified of new episodes. Follow me on Instagram as well, 5 Beer Plan 2022, to see what is happening on my personal ale trail. I'd love to hear from you, and there are several ways you may do so. Leave a comment for this episode on Spotify, direct message me on Instagram, or email me directly, 5beerplan@frontier.com. Be sure to support your local breweries, choose your beers wisely, and drink them responsibly. Until next time, keep walking your ale trail, and stay thirsty, my friends. The Everyman's Afterthought. I just want to take a moment to apologize to you, the listener, for the shorter than normal episodes during the month of September. You all know that I am grateful to the brewer, owner, or industry professional who takes time out of their schedules to chat with the Everyman in this humble arena for all things craft. I don't take it for granted in the least. That being said, I know it is a really busy and challenging time for breweries. As a result, unfortunately, some of the interviews that I had pre-scheduled for the summer months fell through, and frankly, I got a little complacent with filling those gaps on the podcast. It happens to the best of us, and I will try to do better moving forward. I'm still hoping to circle back around and capture the content that I had in mind because there are so many great stories in the craft industry that still need to be told. Now, I want to hear from you. If you have any ideas, subject matter, or breweries that I should reach out to, please contact me and forward me the information that you have. I just want to thank you again for your patience and your loyal listening. I'm honored that you choose to spend an hour, give or take, with me every month. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Oh, and one more exciting thing to share. A couple of the beers from the FPP Homebrew Project are officially medal winners at a local competition. I will share more at a later date.